Flight Boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind Eminent Terry's Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now we're going to talk about the air houses. And I like to call these houses the social awareness houses, the communication houses. And it's the past, present, and the future. It's abstract because it's able to think about the past, think about the present, and think about the future. Not to say that they can tell either or, but they just have a sense of being able to think about it. For an example, fire may not necessarily like to continue to harper over past things, and they may like to think more about the future most of the times. Water may like to think about the memories more times and bring up happy memories and bad memories and be comedians about them, or be able to soak in things that they could be familiar with, and don't like to think about the future because it's something that they can't see yet. So they like to soak in what's here and what has to come, and they like to create the future other than think about the future like it hasn't came. And this is why earth signs are in the present, because they like to think about the here and now. They don't like for someone to be sitting here emotionally harping over the past all the time, because they want to fix what's going on now. And they don't like to sit here and have faith or be optimistic and talk about the future, because we don't know if we can do that yet. Because let's find out what we can do right now. So this is why earth is practical. Now air could think about all these realm realities, but a lot of times they could be thinking so much about all these realm realities that they never jump into one of them. You know what I'm saying? And get one finalized. Air might not want to sit here and harper over like the past, emotions, and feelings, like I just said. So right here we're going to talk about the social awareness houses. So when we talk about the first house, the first of the social awareness houses, which is the cardinal of the awareness, it starts with mutable. Like I said, we have to start last. So by metaphysically us starting last, when it gets in this density, it comes in first off the back. So the first air sign, the cardinal first air sign, is a mutable air sign, which that's what's needed to be cardinal. As far as communication in this density, when the house is starting this spiritual realm. Now, we have Gemini here. So right here we have mutable air. So right here, this is being adaptable and changeable and fluid to yours and other people's ways of thinking and communicating with the surroundings amongst the familiar places and faces. So not Gemini just spawns out of here. The third house itself is familiar places and faces and your basic surroundings. So really, Geminis may just play out the characteristics of being communicative amongst their familiar places and faces, being very talkative. That comes out to being very talkative to people they know, and being very introverted to people they don't know. And then that goes off to being able to understand their surroundings, being able to communicate with their surroundings. This is why a lot of Geminis may play out the traits of reading instructions, or seeing how something works around them, or crossword or puzzles around them, and learning how puzzles work. That's the things in your surroundings. Like if you got a car and something wrong with your car, a Gemini gonna take out the booklet out of the glove department and read and see what's wrong. Not to say every other sign won't do it, but a Gemini, that just may be with their mind on before they even had that car. So they may already know that book before they got the car, because they was planning on getting that car. So you see what I'm saying? It's understanding and communicating with the surroundings. If that car is part of your surroundings, then that book is going to be informative to you. The instructions and the ingredients of everything in that book, the ingredients behind drinks and stuff. So we have to start with the 11th house. So it starts off early in life with having your own fixated way of thinking and communicating, but unfamiliar places and faces. That's the 11th house. Unfamiliar places and faces, and how you conduct yourself in the public. So when you first initially come into this world, everything is unfamiliar to you. All places is unfamiliar. Only thing you know is your mother's womb. So when you come out and start experiencing, everything is unfamiliar. All places and people and things is unfamiliar, right? So everything becomes broad. Now, in life, as a kid and starting to get older, you start to develop your own way of seeing everything that's unfamiliar. So you start to create your own imagination, your own communication, your own thinking patterns of the unfamiliar world that's starting to come to you, that's coming to you as you experiencing it. Now it's going to start to become familiar because you're going to be able to relate it to someone who's having a similar experience. It may not be the same experience, but it's a similar experience because they're a person, place, or thing just like you. An animal, a toy, or a person just like you. So now you're able to relate your own way of seeing and communicating things with yourself to someone else. So now you're able to relate it, which falls into the 7th house, the relatable house. The compromising house. And compromising don't always mean stopping what you're doing for the sake of someone else. Compromising means just basically being relatable. You're setting your ideas on the table and and just being able to be willing to hear someone else's ideas is compromising. Whether you choose to agree with them or not, you're jumping into a whole nother field. Now you're going to deal with Mars and all that. But just the simple fact that you're open ears, that's compromising. Because you're having a compromising ear. You're willing to listen to someone. You're not just stubborn to the fact that you don't even want to listen to somebody else. You're willing, so you have a compromising ear. You just may not be a compromising person. You may not be willing to fuck with what they have to say. That's dealing with your Mars and stuff. But if, we're just talking about energies in general when we talk about houses. You may share some of these traits. You may play out some of these traits if you're a Libra. But just in general, just the 7th house itself just is compromising itself. So you may play out character. If you're a Libra, your actions may play out characteristics of trying to be compromising in a situation. But compromising in general is just the 7th house. Being able to hear something from someone else. In general, having an ear, having a fairness in you to be able to do that. So having someone in front of you, opposite to you, opposite to the I am, opposite to you I am, now you witnessing another I am. That's 7th house. You know what I'm saying? So right here, you're able to express. You were able to communicate your own way of seeing, your own way of thinking, to someone else's way of thinking on a one-on-one basis. Now, or whatever. So that's the 7th house. Now that you're starting to get familiar with doing that, now you're able to do that now that gets filtered through the 3rd house. You're able to do that in the familiar places and faces in your surroundings. Now you have a basic understanding of how you see things. You have a basic understanding of how to communicate with others, because others know how to communicate like you know how to communicate, because you just found out as humans just like you. And now you're able to do that amongst your surroundings now. You're able to do that amongst people, places, and things in your basic surroundings, which eventually becomes familiar to you, which creates the 3rd house, familiar places and faces, which is your dharma or karma of your social awareness houses, which I like to say is the abstract, because you're able to think about things that you did. You're able to think about what you're doing now, and you're able to think about what you could be doing, which is the future. See what I'm saying? And that's your air houses, your social awareness houses, abstract. Now, abstract mean past, present, and future. Now let's get into the water houses.